Hey, welcome back. I know it's been a while. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. But watch me turn my office that I've already done 2 other times. Turn it from this to this. So I didn't record it here, but I pretty much emptied out my entire office, and I knew the first thing that had to be done is this door. Didn't like the door, and there was something wrong with the door. Not something crazily wrong, but it was just off. So I took the door off, took the entire frame off, and come to find out whoever put this door in kind of just built the frame. It wasn't one of those doors that came pre-hung or had the other frame. So this frame took me a while to actually get out, although it should have been easy. And that's how hard it was to get it out. I can literally sit there and hang on the frame. So I had to use a number of things. The crowbar was probably the best thing to use because it got the job done at the end of the day. But it was a lot harder than expected to replace this door, and you'll see later on in this video what I mean. So I got something in my eye. And why? Because I wouldn't have my glasses on. But guess what? I put them right back on. Glasses are needed during these constructions, guys. after I cleared out everything, I measured the door. I realized that it's wider than a standard door. So I would have had to get a custom ordered door just to fit here, or somehow like jimmy it to fit. So I wasn't doing that. So I went and got a 2x4. I put that in place. I measured it a bunch of times, trying to make sure I got it all leveled and plumbed. That's a new word that I learned while doing this. So making sure that it was plumbed and everything was good to go. So this way, when I get my door, I can just kind of set that in there. So I had to cut a little bit extra off. It was kind of too tight in there. So I went ahead and did that. And then I also got longer screws because the screws that I did have initially was a little bit too short. You guys probably don't see it here, but I replaced them. Anyways, so you'll see here in a second that I do try to toenail the screws in. I don't know why I did that. I can't toenail to save my life or to win $1 million. Like if somebody said, hey, I got $1 million for you, you got to toenail this in, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. So I just went ahead and screwed it in just the right way, straight to the wood. I did it. I thought I was a master at installing the door, and I wasn't. This door is a standard door. I think it was a 32 by 80. 80 is the standard height for a door, and this was not fitting at all. And I'm like, what is going on? Because it definitely measured at 80 when I measured it, and I measured it more than once. Again, this house, I'm telling you, this house is crazy. But can you guess what I had to do to make this door fit? That I had to redo the header, and yes I did. That in and of itself was definitely a feat, because this is an old house built 1950, I think, if I can remember. And the way they built this house, they mostly used those thick nails. So this header was attached with very thick nails. So I basically had to take apart everything that I've done, like the drywall and the little drywall at least that I did replace, and get this header out of there and replace that. One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way when you can. This is the beginning. I said 5 in the morning. 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 I said 5. they use very thick nails to put this header in, and at this point I was honestly just done. I just kind of wanted to rip it out, but I couldn't. It was literally in there so strong. It was crazy. So good thing I have a multi-tool that has a metal bit to it, because that definitely helped get the nails cut. So basically I cut into the nails, and I think they had like maybe 2 nails on each end, and then one in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. So it took some time. It definitely took a lot more time than I thought it was gonna do, but I eventually got it out, and I was so happy. So after taking that header off, I went ahead and remeasured again to make sure that I have the correct height this time, because I was again not getting a custom door. I do not know who installed this door, and I don't know how many times they're going to be saying that, but whoever installed this door was crazy, because why on earth would you not have a standard size door? Unless maybe back in the day standard was not 80 inches. I don't know, whatever. But I replaced everything per usual, using a mix of both my multi-tool and the saw, because I didn't want to cut into that stud there. Also, just an FYI, this stud is pretty thick, not the standard 2x4, by the way. Alright, so I got it cut, all good to go, measured to the correct height. Now it is at 80 inches. So you'll see here that there's going to be a gap between that header and the studs that I placed on the side. And that is because when I measured the first time, I measured it as it was, and now after making the adjustments, it is a smidget shorter, so there's going to be a little bit of gap, but I filled that gap in with little small scrap pieces of wood that I had from cutting those side pieces, if that makes sense. I know that sounded like a lot, but regardless, all that just means is I was able to do it. Long story short. So there was a video I watched on YouTube that was supposed to be for, like, if your one side of your door opening was a little bit taller than the other side, there was a way that you can make it fit and still kind of make it look like the same length. So that's what I did with the door, and I cut a little bit of the door jam, which I didn't need to do, because now there's only like a very small gap at the bottom, but it's just like I didn't need to do it. I just did too much basically, but it's not that big of a deal. So once I did everything, made a bunch of dry fits to make sure that the door closed properly, there was no gaps, or everything was evened out, I went ahead and just screwed everything in to place. I said 5 in the morning. 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 So I didn't record it, but I put up the door trim both inside and outside. You can see that I only took one off on this side because I just needed to fix the drywall. There was a hole pretty much, or a gap I should say, not really a hole. So I just basically needed to fill that in. So I put tape, compound, fill it in. I'll be sanding that and repainting that at a later date. Then I'll just put the door trim back on that side, and paint the door trim as well.
One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way when you can. This is difficult. I said 5 in the morning. 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 I said 5 in the morning.
So for some reason, I did not record the rest of the process of getting this door prepared and sanded, installed, all of that. I didn't get the finished product basically. But you'll see that at the end of the finished office. So in the meantime, the next video will be me painting the office, and I am installing finally blinds in my windows because this sun is a lot. So anyways, stay tuned for the next video. See you guys soon.